everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Kinky Politics. I am your host, Kai, along with...
Kirk.
That's my husband. Today we are back with a great topic, which is, what is the world going to look like post-COVID? What is the world going to look like post-COVID?
That's a great question.
What is the world going to look like post-COVID? I don't know.
Do we know?
Do we know?
I don't know. Do we know? We probably know. We can have a stab at it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean...
What do you think?
What do you think?
What do you think?
What do you think? Well, okay. I suppose...
Go on, ladies first. What do you think?
All right. Post-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously Kirk and I have been in Australia now for the past almost 8 months since I had traveled to America. 8 months? 7 months, 6 months, something like that. I was back in May. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But we have been in lockdown in Sydney and still doing the whole masks and social distancing and, even unable to travel to some areas.
Some areas are in heavy lockdown.
Yeah.
Like, curfews and can't leave the house at all except for like 1 hour a day exercising. So it's pretty serious.
And it's crazy because there was a protest in America, actually in New York, for Australia and Australian citizens saying, hey, we heard you guys are in like severe lockdown, and I'm sorry, I'm smiling about it because it's so crazy because we're here, But there are some areas where it's just like, wow. It's a long time of having these like serious sort of like restrictions. You can't leave at a certain time. You can't be outside for a certain time. But I really do understand the need to try and secure everything. It's a little different than America.
Law and order.
Law and order. Yeah. No, you're right. It is. It is law and order.
Americans love that law and order.
Americans, we love that.
Plenty of it here.
Yeah.
Oodles.
So it was a little different than America. Obviously, America didn't have those types of restrictions, but did have some crazy restrictions, but nothing like it. But nothing like this, anyway. But we're not really talking about that per se. I just thought it was an interesting thing to bring up that now very soon we're going to be in an unrestricted time where absolutely nothing is going to be as it was. Like, we're not going to have masks. I don't think we'll probably be imposing, at least here anyway, a lot of social distancing. We've already seen now in the parks, and as we like go on our little weekend walks, so 78. Anyway, we go on our little weekend walks. That's what we do as a couple. We go on our weekend walks.
Put your mall walkers on?
I put my mall walkers on. Yes, I do. I've got mall walkers. And, but no, we've been seeing families, couples, friends in the parks, unmasked, in these little tiny pods, just chit-chatting to each other and eating and it just looks like things are freaking back to normal. Meanwhile, Kirk and I are walking around with our masks on, and it's crazy.
So
where they're starting these sort of restrictions, not restrictions, these easing of restrictions, I think on Monday.
So are we overreacting? Is everyone underreacting? It sounds like we're a bit strict with the whole thing.
Yum, this is delicious.
It is a good drop.
Everybody, I hope.
It is a good drop. I don't know, we can't condone.
Should we put this on the screen? Yeah, let's put it on the screen. We should show you what we're drinking so you guys know for next time what to pick up. It's a bit of a cheap bottle, but We've been buying these things all weekends. We sound out like alcoholics. This is not the point of the show, by the way. But hurry, let's show them. So we bought this great wine. What is it even called? Bunamagu Estate. Cabernet Merlot. It's not that cheap. It was, well, it's a good price.
It was wine of the month at our local wine store.
And it's really delicious. So if you're interested, it's a great red wine. But anyway,
2015 is the vintage.
That's important to know for a lot of wine people. It's not important for me, but it is important to know for a lot of wine people. So I respect that. But yeah.
Well, otherwise they'll get the different bottle.
Oh, okay.
Like if they get the same wine as 2016.
I love when he comes in like this. I'm onto a new topic and he just like decides.
It will be a different wine.
That's true. That's
different
true.
Grapes,
No, you're
different
right.
season. It will be like, oh, they're talking about this one's crap.
Yes.
It'll be like, it's 2015. It's a good one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, a world. Are we overreacting? Was the question that you said to me. Are we overreacting while everyone else seems to be sort of like comfortable? Now, about, I don't know, what is it, 70% of 70% of Australia or New South Wales is vaccinated? Is that correct?
Yeah, 70% now is fully vaxxed in New South Wales. 71, I think now, 71%, and nearly 91% have had their first dose.
Okay.
So soon we'll have in New South Wales 91% fully vaccinated, which is one of the highest vaccination rates in the world.
Okay, there you go.
It's incredible.
So, I don't know.
So what does post?
I don't think that we're
COVID
overreacting. Yes, yes, definitely. I'm going there.
Okay.
I don't think that we're overreacting, and I don't think we're overreacting because this is bad, but now I know this is going to sound really. Actually, let me run. I'm not even going to say it. I was about to say something that was really probably going to be very politically incorrect, but or should I say it? I was going to say, there are people who walk around with masks all the time, irrespective of the pandemic. Right? There are people, there are groups, there are lots. Let me say it like this. There are lots of ethnic groups who walk around with masks all the time anyway. Am I right? Yes. Okay. Now, were they onto something? Are they still onto something? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I am saying that if they're still walking around with the masks, am I overreacting? I think they've been onto something for a long time. And we've just been like, well, what's the point of that, walking around with a mask?
Are you saying the habaya?
No.
The Islamic face covering?
No.
Because that's only for women too, by the way.
No, I wasn't.
So what are the other people wearing?
There are lots of people who walk, various ethnic groups who have walked around with masks. Lots of ethnic groups. I'll let you think about that. Because I don't want to sound like I'm just like targeting a particular group. But there are lots, but there's one in particular that I'm thinking of. Anyway, they've been doing it forever. Masks. And then as soon as the pandemic hit, they looked at the rest of us like, yeah, idiots. You should have been on this train. And now I'm wondering, do they have a point?
You're talking about ninjas?
Anyway, I'm trying to say that I don't think we're overreacting. The state is not fully vaccinated yet. I think that there are lots of people who can't get vaccinated, who also won't get vaccinated. And I still think that the transmission rates are still really high and people can still get COVID. So, no, I don't think we're overreacting. And I also don't know I don't know for sure what the world will look like. So I want to wear a mask.
Yeah, I don't think. Look, I'm gonna put my little scientist, worldly sociologist, biologist hat on. and have a think about what's happening here and what's happened before previously. And countries that have, just in the short term, countries that have opened back up after being vaccinated have still, like Israel is a good example, have had a huge spike once they like go back to normal, mingling and societal norms. Spikes go straight up, everyone gets COVID, but they're less sick. The outcomes aren't as bad. There's less hospitalizations, there's less deaths, but everyone's still catching it.
Right.
So I think we're going to have to get used to the idea. I think we're in a bit of a rude shock here when we open back up. Infection cases are going to rise, go right through the roof, but people aren't going to get as sick because they're vaccinated. And that's the whole point of it, is that you don't get as sick. Therefore, every time you catch it, the virus then mutates, but in a good way, as in it's not more virulent, it's not more contagious. And so people contracting it and passing it on to each other, it dumbs it down. And so eventually turns into something more similar to a cold, to the flu, where it's not as potent. And then it just becomes like the flu season. But that's going to take a while. It's going to take for most people to get it. So we're looking, I think, if that's the case, another, 2 years of this, at least. Of mask wearing, of like social distancing in certain areas.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
Because the cases are going to go back up, and then everyone's going to be like, oh, but
so let's talk about what it looks like. So you think that we'll continue to wear masks?
I think we're going to, in a lot of settings, continue to wear masks.
What kind of settings do you think?
I think it's probably going to be up to businesses. I don't think the states are going to regulate that anymore. I think
the federal government.
Federal government or state government is going to regulate that. I think that's going to be up to individual businesses to have their own
jurisdiction.
Yeah, own policies of what they feel comfortable for their staff mainly, and for their patrons, of course, but mainly the staff that work there. And that's going to be a decision on the company, and that depends, how many people they have in a certain area, and ventilation, and all sorts of factors are going to come into play. But I think the whole idea of social distancing and having a certain number of people to a certain area, and then if it's a high risk area, then face masks will be introduced. I don't think that's going away anytime soon. I think if it does go away, it's going to be brought back quickly, because I don't think coronavirus is going away anytime soon. I think you look at other places around the world, just because they're vaccinated, it doesn't mean it's going away. It just means you're not going to get as sick. And that's the whole point of it, so you can deal with it more like a bad cold, bad flu, and you'll be okay.
Excuse me.
Of course, even the flu, people die from the flu. It is what it is. So it is a bit of a new norm. I feel like I don't know. I don't want to sound pessimistic and doomsdayish, but you listen to the top epidemiologists around the world. They've been saying this for decades, for years and years, that these super bugs and these viruses are going to cause a major problem for mankind. It's the most lethal threat to mankind is these viruses, not like nuclear war, which a lot of people think, which is a threat, and climate change. It's actually these viruses which are going to maybe to be the undoing of mankind. So
interesting.
I feel like it could be. My feeling is like in another 5-10 years after this, there could be another, because there was SARS before this. That wasn't too long ago.
And the pig flu.
And swine flu, and Ebola, and all these things, which I think we sort of got lucky with, that they weren't as bad as they could have been. Their outcomes could have been much worse. And I think like this could be like just
the start,
because it seems to be getting worse with all that stuff. We look at the history of what's been happening, it's not like easing off. It seems to be revving up.
I think you're right. I wonder what work will look like for people. Like, will more people be working from home? Because currently, obviously, lots of people work from home now. I remember when that was like a big thing. If you wanted to work from home, it wasn't really something that was acceptable. Now, or I would say like more recently, it's become more of a thing. But I think as soon as the pandemic obviously came, then people were like, wow, we have no other choice but to work from home. So I feel like lots of people are going to start working from home, but I wonder what this also looks like for like essential services. I was watching, we did a talk about AI, and I was watching a video on how this girl went to go get her nails done, and she got it done by a machine. She went into a nail salon in San Francisco, and she got it done by a machine. I mean, and this is hard to do, right? And she's like, oh, I paid $8. It was so much cheaper. Normally when you get your nails done, it's about $30. $30 American, about $20, $21, $25 American, and probably $30 on the cheap side here in Australia. I would know. But yeah, so she went in to get her nails done recently for $8. And then I'm thinking about like, McDonald's. Like, as soon as we open up, are they going to decide, we're probably okay with using, the menu, what do you call it? What was that? The kiosk. It's a type of kiosk, touch screen thing. That's really popular here now.
Where that will go, and because that's like a contamination point.
Right.
So it'll just be all on your phone. Just do it all on your phone. Personalized phone. So that's going to go. So this is a great excuse. I think that's where you're getting at. Sorry to jump in. A great excuse, the pandemic, to increase the speed of the AI, the introduction of it. Which we mentioned, like you said, last episode, AI, and I think I mentioned that every job can be, pretty much every can be replaced. And I didn't even know about this nails. That's like, my gosh, that employs so many people. Nail technicians and going sales, and you just go and get a robot. Anyway, that was a whole nother topic. But yeah, like it's going to speed up so many things.
I think so, and I think we may see actually a decrease in jobs. Like, I think we'll see a lot of unemployed people very soon, even as soon as things open up, and I think that's scary. I know it's a little scary for me. I mean, in our profession, we're both actors, and obviously involved in the entertainment industry, and it's been a real. For me, I've preferred it. I've preferred not having to go into offices, meet casting directors. I have more control at home, filming my stuff, or in our studio, filming our stuff and submitting myself for work, But, and I can see how this is more efficient for casting directors. They have less work to do. All they do is just wait for us to submit their work, and they're like, great, my work is cut in half. All I need to do is just collate all this shit. It's a breeze for them. And I honestly hope it doesn't change. I like it. I like having that much more control. I think control was an issue in my other episode too, AI, God. But I was afraid of the robots taking over. But I do like it. I like it, and I think I will be okay with some of the changes. Like, I am okay walking around, not all the time with a mask, but I'm all right with it.
It's funny how we get socially conditioned so easily.
That's true too.
It's a bit scary how we can be like, from the start wearing a mask. This is crazy. And this is, I remember first being on, like, we can't breathe and all that stuff. And and then now we're just like,
it's not so bad.
It's not bad. Put it on. It's great.
I must admit, I kind of like it. I kind of like it, and not because I like not to breathe, but you know, it's like there's all sorts of toxins in the air. There is. There's all sorts of toxins in the air. There's all sorts of things that people bring, and I think that it doesn't filter out the toxins. It doesn't filter out the toxins. Anyway, I prefer the masks. Whatever. It doesn't filter out the toxins. It filters out a lot of bullshit anyway. People talking. It does. People talking all the way in my fucking face. You know? Yes, people acknowledging. No, but you know what I mean? Lots of people don't understand personal space, and all of a sudden you've got a mask on, and then people are like, whoa, he's wearing a mask. I don't have a problem with that, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, we could talk about this all day long. What are your thoughts? What do you think the world is going to be like post-COVID? Do you even care what the world's like post-COVID? And do you think we'll go back to normal? You know, I think that is something that a lot of people are looking forward to, and I wonder if normal is actually attainable. I just wonder if that is now attainable.
It's a great thought. It's a huge thought. It's like the thought. It's.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Anyway, if you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you all on the flip side next week. Later.
Oh my god. Orange is not my new black.